Garnacho! Oh, what a goal! What a goal! It's probably goal of the season.
Couple! Waiting now. Waiting. You don't they come.
Just off this, bro. Oh, here we go, bro. Here we go.
서서히.
That's better than Rooney.
It sweets me die. Hey! Hey!
You, mate! You're a genius! The German maestro!
And it's 1-1. It's 1-1. It's 1-1.
1-0 to the Arsenal. 1-0 to the Arsenal.
Well, there we go. There we go.
My Christ. Oh, my f***ing God. Oh, my God. These lot of...
We went from running like Usain Bolt to having no legs like Oscar Pistorius, blood. I feel like Mick Carter, the way I just keep seeing L's. We had more chances than Bill Clinton, fam.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Starboy, bloody NASA need to get hold of him. He's more than a star, he's a bloody planet.
Welcome back to the Top 6 show. It was an epic weekend of football, there's no doubt. Today's show is brought to you again by our friends at BetMGM. Get signed up now. We're playing Golden Goals later on the show. Click on the link in our description or scan that QR code that's in between Egal and Lewis. How is the panel, though? Everyone well? Everybody good?
I can come on a show and not be miserable. I'm happy.
Listen, I don't know how you go after that intro. That intro is amazing.
Listen,
That was funny. That was actually fun. I had me in tears.
There was some great content out there this weekend from the world, and we're kind of reviewing that, a couple of the games on the show today. Viewers, of course, hit like buttons for us. Make sure you are subscribing. And I don't think there's a better place to start today than with 3 in a row. Tottenham, 3 defeats on the bounce, only the 5th time in English football history that a team has led 3 games on the bounce and lost all 3. Over to you, Kate, because we didn't hear from you at the weekend. Maybe you were busy. I'm not too sure, but another disappointing result for Tottenham.
Don't even try and insinuate that I was hiding because I had my own show straight after. So don't go there, Mr. Terry.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, disappointing. I've got to say, I thought the first half hour was the best I've seen Tottenham play for a long time. And I thought we had Villa in the palm of our hands. And then we did what Spurs do, and it all went to poo after Bentancur got injured. And yeah, I mean, to be fair, I was gutted, but I took a lot of positives out of the game. You know, we're sort of a few games into a massive rebuild. The whole Conte ball is long gone. I think Ange is doing amazing with what he's got at the moment. Seeing Emerson Royale at centre-back was terrifying, but you know what? He was still better than Eric Dyer. And I like I say, I take a lot from the game in a good way because I thought the first half hour was sublime. I thought we just weren't clinical. Son seems to have forgotten what offside is. And we just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. But more good than bad come to take from it, in my opinion. But I know there's a lot of Spurs fans having an absolute meltdown right now.
Jords, how about you? I mean, have you seen Spurs fans having meltdowns? Are you in meltdown after your 3rd defeat on the bounce?
No. This is probably the one game where you look at the loss and you just say, you know what? Fair play to Aston Villa, but we played much better than them. We deserved the win. No one can take that away from us. We sort of done everything you could do to get a win, but we just couldn't finish our chances. We couldn't finish our dinner. You can only look at the players and blame ourselves in that situation. As a Spurs fans, are you sort of surprised with the result and the way the game planned out? Not really. I mean, a lot of us prior to the game, when we saw the lineup, we knew it was experimental. We knew that there was going to be goals flying around. We knew that it could have went either way. No one was going to say bang on Spurs are going to dominate Villa and expected the way that we did perform. But honestly, I feel like it was a good performance. We done what we could. Obviously, I do feel like that we was a bit unfortunate at times. Like They had a few decisions that went their way. Disgusting challenge from Matty Pennies, like absolutely disgusting challenge, knee high, clean into
You see
Benzco.
Romero do that every week.
Say Matty Pennies.
Matty Pennies.
I see Romero do that every week, bro.
Knee high.
It was knee high. If you look where he caught him originally, maybe not with the studs, but I'm talking about with his leg. He caught him knee high, and knowing that Benzco has just come back from an injury, it's a nasty challenge, a nasty piece of work from him. He done it to Doherty when he was in a good run of form for us before, so it's nothing new from him. It's just a dirty player, and he got taken off at half time for a reason. Aston Villa done well to rattle us. I felt like towards the end of the first half, after Benzco come on, they got really aggressive, started to not let us keep too much time on the ball, and it worked in their favour. They sort of got us rattled up, and where they won that challenge at the end of the first half, and sort of put us away with the set piece, which again we can only blame ourselves. Playing with no centre backs, you're always gonna have problems at any set piece chances. But again, I'm not mad at the game. I'm not mad at the performance, and I'm not mad at the manager. I'm really proud of Ange for being brave, man. He went out there, took Dyer off the team, like I wanted. I called for him 2 weeks ago. I said, take Dyer out of the team. He's absolutely unbearable to watch, and he can't play the way that this team plays. And we done that on the weekend. Obviously, it didn't work out the way we wanted to, but it was good, and it was something different. We saw a few of the players that we thought weren't good enough step up, the likes of Gio Lo Celso, the likes of Brian Hill. So it's one of those games you probably look back in 6 or 7 months and say, do you know what, it was good that we lost that game in the fashion that we did, because we really stuck to our principles, and we're showing what we're trying to build here. Again, we're at the start of a rebuild. Is it all bad, down and bad that we've lost 3 in a row? No, because we all knew that it wasn't going to be straight up. Obviously, the season started off well, and a lot of us wanted to maintain the start to the season. But when you look at the context and the amount of players that we have injured and so on, it's really not all so bad. And anyone trying to get onto Ange or get onto the manager or make it, make a story saying, "Oh, is it time for Ange to be done?" Let's stop the rubbish. He's been good. He's been solid, and I'm only impressed so far. So impressed with the team, impressed with the performance. Obviously, we just don't walk away with a result.
Egal, you had a lot to say. Do you agree? Was it a good defeat for Tottenham?
They're at home versus Aston Villa, and Aston Villa have now overtaken them in the table. For Tottenham to go 5th in the table and Aston Villa to go 4th. Like, Ange Postecoglou, yes, you know what? I'll give them credit. They were playing good football even without the injuries. But at the end of the day, they were giving up way too many chances. And Jords said something like, "Oh, it was a good performance. They did everything but win the game." No, Son should have stayed onside. Man had 3 goals. He continuously was caught offside. If this was Timo Werner, if this was anybody else, we make fun of them for continuously being offside. Good job for scoring 3 goals, but each time you're offside.
But Egal, don't you look at the manager? We've all seen the transformation that Emery's done, and you've had Emery as a manager.
I'm gonna get there. No one's gonna give you guys smoke, because the 2 Tottenham fans on this panel right here, we're not the ones giving it the big and going crazy after 3 wins, 4 wins. But now in the month of November, you have not picked up a single point. You have not picked up a single point in the month of November. And
Jords may have Jords may have not said they're gonna win the league, but he's had this in the bank. He's had some smoke in situ.
But you know what?
You know what I'm saying? Like, Jords deserves this. Just to listen. This
is what we need to talk about. We need to talk about Ange Postecoglou losing week after week, but getting praised. When the similar thing happens with Brighton's manager De Zerbi, week after week loses by sticking to his principle and gets criticized and gets insulted. Similar thing happened to Mikel Arteta when we would continuously lose.
That's a lot of rubbish, because the whole of last season, De Zerbi was praised.
One second. I'm gonna finish and then you can go. The reality is this: if you want to call losing a game 2-1 to a team that was in it the whole time, that could have also scored another 3 goals. You keep talking about the fact that, oh, you created all these chances. Tottenham were in the game, but so were Aston Villa. It was a kamikaze of defense from both teams, and luckily Aston Villa were caught offside. Aston Villa held their line and caught Son offside a couple times. I personally think these kind of performances show me that you guys are going to be very open. And it's going to be a lot of games like this. Maybe with your players back from injury, it won't be as crazy. But final thing I want to say, Ange Postecoglou is the only manager who gets 3 managers a month and then goes without a win the next month after that. and now he's still getting praised. It's ridiculous. Give him time. I understand, trust the process, but Tottenham fans, don't get ahead of yourselves. Don't count your chickens. A couple weeks ago, we had Will Stewart on the channel making fun of Arsenal, saying that even though they got these injuries, they're still going to win. And I told him, you're going to lose in the next 3 games. 2 down, 1 to go, and you've now fallen down from where you were at the top of the table 2 international breaks ago to now 5th. And I personally think it's going to be a continuous dip if you guys don't start picking up points once your players get healthy again.
Well, that's like saying that's just an obvious statement. We're going to dip if we don't pick up points, because of course we are. If we don't pick up points, we're going to drop like a stone. But I knew this would happen. I could see it coming a mile away.
You see your next win. You're not beating Man City.
I don't see us winning against Man City. I don't see us getting anything at Newcastle, and I think we could get a draw at West Ham. That's literally where I see it. You know, I'm not deluded by any stretch of the imagination.
Hey, you know why I say this? Because I brought this up at the beginning of the season when I said you guys have faced the lower sides of the table and you've beaten them.
You're making 2 different points.
But you can only play who's in front of you.
What I don't get is
I understand that. But when other people beat easy,
what you're not gonna do is try to bring out loads of different points to try and make it seem like you're making sense. No, the context as of recent is that we've had loads of injuries. Like you've said, we're not going to pick up points when you have loads of injuries because you're missing your best players. Cool. But it's not going, at the start of the season, you played rubbish teams as to why you're picking up points. No, you're just negating both your points here. No, we picked up points at the start of the season because we had our first 11. They were all fit and they were firing, just like any team would.
Okay, so now you do admit that everything was going your way.
Now we've lost 6 out of that first 11. You're now seeing us lose. It's not rocket science to watch a team fall off a bit whilst we're losing all these players. But when you're saying, Ange doesn't deserve praise, he's in his first season ago. You say De Zerbi and all these other managers ain't getting praise. All right, cool. They're not in their first season no more. Because when De Zerbi was in his first season and he was drawing and they were losing and they're saying, they're playing better football than what Graham Potter's Brighton did, he was getting praise for it. It's because Ange Postecoglou is the new thing. You Arsenal fans are getting jealous. You're getting butthurt. He's like, why is he still getting praise for playing good football? Why is he still getting praise? Because he's in his first season and he's building something at Tottenham. He's going to continuously get praise because if you're missing 6 out of your first 11 players and you still manage to play the way you did against Aston Villa, who is, if you on stats, one of the best teams in the league over the past 12 months, I'm sure they're a top 4 team in the league over the past 12 months, then you've got to praise him for managing to get in a performance out of those fringe players.
You know what? I'll continue to praise him once he gets you guys relegated. Because if you're going to praise the manager after every loss, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. If you're going to praise a manager after 3 losses in a row, for what? For sticking to his principles. Big whoop. Guess what? We don't keep it consistent. The reality is Ange Postecoglou is a media darling. He somehow frauded his way to 3 managers a month, back to back to back. And now when you guys face a little bit of adversity and things are not going your way, doesn't have the solutions. That's what I'm criticizing. You just said even with injuries, guess what? Manchester United, who we've been bantering all season, are what? 2 points behind you? This team that a month ago were supposed to sack their manager. They had no players on your level. You were saying you have a better whole 11 than them. You beat them and you're laughing about it. Now they're 2 points behind you. I'm telling you, it's peak for you guys right now, and you don't realize it.
I wish someone would give Egal some Imodium. He's got absolute verbal diarrhea. I've never had so much waffle come out of one person's mouth. At the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, Ange is getting praised. He shouldn't get praised if we lose. I'm not saying he should get praised if we lose. I'm not happy if we lose. No matter if we play the most beautiful football on the planet. If we lose, I'm not happy. But the change he's made in that club over just a matter of weeks, that's literally all it is, a matter of weeks, from Conte ball style of play last year to this year, is unbelievable. And Man United, they're catching us up, but their squad's better than ours. Our squad is terrible.
It's a facade. United shouldn't be there, but they are.
Antonio Conte said this. You have too many players in that team that are just not able to get you guys what you need.
Yeah,
and some
but
of those guys when they play, This is what happens. These kind of performances. So really,
Egal, you're just waffling. Not Egal, you're generally just waffling now because you're sitting here and saying the manager should find solutions. We created chances. We should have scored. We should have won. Our team should have won. The players didn't find the solutions on the pitch. He set us up to win. The team played better and they should have won the game. So how did he not find the solutions? You're just trying to run your agenda here.
They actually played better.
You know what I say? In terms of the praise point, the praise at some point will run out because if they continue to do this throughout most of the season, people will be like, yeah, they're playing nice football. We're at the point. So the praise point, that will resolve itself in time anyway. So we don't have to worry about that. But in terms of the game, you got to look at the players in terms of the responsibility. I looked at Brian Hill that game when I was watching it, and there's so many times where he could have either took a man on or either shoot to score, and he's trying to pass it off every time. And it's just little things like that where a player is not up to the race, he's not up to the standard, and he's low on confidence clearly, and he's not being able to make something happen for his team. And you got Brennan Johnson and Son out there trying to make things happen, but it just when you got a third guy in there, when you've got your midfielders who are not all up to speed, it's all going to come crashing down at some point. It just happens to do. Aston Villa, they're a well-drilled team. Their midfield is set. Their attack is set. The way they're playing is set for the last season and a bit now. And it's hard to say that Ange couldn't find a way to win when he's made them get to a point where his team could win and his players let him down. I
get
they
that.
played a lot better than what they did against Wolves. They played a lot better.
I do get where Egal's coming from slightly. I think some of the articles about that I read, Ange Postecoglou is like the new Fergie. Ange Postecoglou has fixed Tottenham. They're no longer Spursy. I think some of that stuff was premature, especially mentioning Sir Alex Ferguson's name. No one, barring Pep, should ever be mentioned in the same breath as that man, in my personal opinion. But at the same time, most level-headed Chelsea fans and most level-headed rivals knew this would happen when a few injuries kicked in due to the problems with that squad. But Lewis, what's your take on this? Do you see a manager getting too much praise for losing, or do you understand it from the perspective of this team could be something special if they keep improving this squad in the coming years for him?
I don't know, man. I kind of hear what Egal's saying, to be fair, but it's a weird one, right? Because obviously Tottenham, they had the chances and the players let them down. But I just look at the way that he's playing. I just think they're far too open, man. It's a basketball game against Villa. And whilst they created the chances, Villa also created chances. Villa created plenty of chances in that game as well. The first couple of minutes, Villa could have had a couple of goals as well. So it's fair to say that, yes, Ange put the team out there and the players had the chances to score, so it's the players' fault. But at the same time, he also put the players out there which conceded chances to Villa. And on another day, Villa could have had 3 or 4 goals. So, listen, I'm not really like this whole Ange loving. I think it's weird. I think it's proper weird, to be honest with you. It is weird, though. It is weird. Terry is right, man. Why are you doing articles, weird articles, man? Come on. We all knew this was going to happen, by the way, as well. As soon as they got a few players injured, we all knew it was going to fall off. So, this isn't as a surprise. And, I think they're in for a rough couple of weeks. They've got City up next, then West Ham at home, Newcastle. This could be a seriously, seriously tough run. If they lose them 3 games, big if, but if they do lose them 3 games, then what? We're going to have the opposite conversation because Ange would then have to surely be under pressure. You know what I mean? If that's 6 L's on the bounce. So I just think that when his teams lose, they just kind of it just looks easy. It's too easy to concede. It's too easy to concede chances. Yes, you'll have chances, and yes, you'll probably blow some teams away. But at the same time, I'm watching you, and I just think, this isn't usually how top teams play a game against another top team, where you just open up and just see who's got the better strikers. Because it's, that's just 50-50. So, listen, I think it's weird, the loving, the Ange. I think he's obviously getting a taste of medicine now with these couple of results going against him. The tactics he showed against Chelsea, I know they were down to 9 men. That was proper weird.
It reminds me of BTEC. Klopp, it's like they're trying to do the heavy metal early Liverpool thing without the players to do it. That's what it reminds me of, seeing those games. Because normally in those situations, you would win 4-3 with a good enough team, right?
Yeah, I mean, what's going to be interesting as well is he's also a new manager that maybe a lot of the coaches and maybe a lot of the clubs weren't ready for in terms of how he plays. That's why some of the articles that were written about him were far too premature, because people are studying his football now. They're going to look for the flaws and the holes with or without your best players in your team. And this happens to young players when they come through and look good. the tacticians and the coaches at rival clubs watch him and say, right, he's good at X, Y, and Z. He's bad at A, B, and C, so they target A, B, and C. It's about that player adapting and learning. And you Spurs fans, you'd have seen that with Gareth Bale. He kind of, when he first started to really become a good winger, there was peaks and troughs because people would work things out. And then over time, he became absolutely world-class. That's why I just think from a manager that hasn't managed at this level before, the level of praise he was getting for 10 games in, I did feel that it was a little bit over the top. Although the way you play football is beautiful, and I think it's amazing to watch. I'm not going to lie, it is great, but it's more than just looking good at the end of the day. You know, you've got to have some substance with that style, and I think I think what Postecoglou will learn to do, and it might take this season, might take some of next year. He's got to learn to manage the games better. His style of football isn't the problem; it's game management. The biggest mistake I felt you made at the weekend is you attacked relentlessly for 45 minutes. City don't do that. Klopp used to do it, and then he had to change because you can't make you become so. You guys were not getting back into a defensive shape from about the 55th, 60th minute on.
I generally feel like it's the first game that we've took control of the half for the whole half. Usually we have phases where the other team will have 15 or 20 minutes and then we dominate for the other 15 or 20 minutes. But I'd probably say that's the first game where we've been so all-out attack. And like you said, you saw in the 60th minute, the legs were gone.
You can't
I saw it in the Luton game as well, to be fair. And again, that could have gone that way as well. I know you guys scored, but they missed some ridiculous chances in the second half. Sorry, Kate, you're about to say something. Sorry.
I was going to say you can't really blame Ange for the fact that the media are gushing over him. It's not like he's come out and said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to change this, and I'm going to be the best manager the Premier League's ever seen. I find it all a little bit bizarre how everyone sort of went into this massive loving for this Australian guy that come in. I mean, he wasn't the guy I wanted. I like him and I like how he is with the media, but I never wanted it. But you can't kind of use that against him because it's not his fault. If people want to write, if people want to write, oh, well, he deserves praise for this, that's up to them. It's not Ange it's telling them to write it.
You know what? That's fair. But what we can do is we can hold your fan base accountable for when he says don't complain about referees. And Jords, first thing he does is mention Matty Cash foul on Bentancur.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I said on my review was you can't blame referees because at the end of the day we weren't clinical. Everyone can try and blame referees for everything. At the end of the day, if you finish your
one thing I'm not gonna have is I'm not gonna have a gal tell me about referees when you do every other week.
Gal is just killing me.
You'll screenshot it and say, "Oh, is this the right decision, guys?" And you'll cry about it for the next 5 days. Let's not do that, Egal.
Yeah.
Wait, another thing. Young Dan came on and said it was a red card. I was like,
what? He said what? He said that was a red card.
He said it should have been a red card.
Dan is the one who celebrated Romero kicking Gabriel Jesus in the head. What are we doing here?
Yeah,
Dan's young man.
Yeah, no, I get it. We've got some super chats here. This one says Villa almost equalised straight after you scored. That was true, very marginal, and there was always a weakness. They also nearly scored quite early on in the game. The first 5 minutes of that game were maybe the best 5 minutes of a Premier League game I've seen in a while. They were amazing. Only Spurs fans can be happy losing. That's what he said there. I call Egal the toilet because all he holds is poo. I don't really get it, but
I don't think you guys are deep in who that was. Just then the name on the person.
I didn't even read it, to be fair. Spurs fans, please give us a break with your whining about a knee-high challenge by Cash. Get yourselves an anatomy book if you think that is where the knee is. Terry Tibbs here says Egal is defo a flat earther. Jamie here says the only disappointing thing is Spurs' downfall came too early, so their fall wasn't that high. Haaland will feast next week. He could with that defense, he really, really could. Emerson as a centre-back, Haaland start praying. And he's not back. Romero's not back yet, is he? One more game he's got to wait with Romero, isn't he? Oh, yes. Wow. Press hype are all our teams then slate us modern football.
Oh, it's trying to say everyone praises and gasses up pressing, high press, high intensity football, and then when you lose with it, you get slayed for it. So
yeah, no, I think there's got to be balance on both sides there. Speaking of getting battered, though, like an Ian Beale codfish, Don, what happened to you on Saturday? Because you got slapped 4. I mean, Newcastle are very good. I want to take nothing away from Newcastle. They're an excellent drill team, improving all the time. Another clear demonstration that FFP can't stop bad teams from getting better. I just want to put that out there to everybody. Sorry, Lou. But what happened to Chelsea? Because you, man, got absolutely baptized. What happened?
We got
make him big, Terry. Make him big. I want to see this in full screen.
Full screen. Full screen. Come on now.
Alright, they done this to me on Never a Foul as well, man. Oh, guys, come on, man. Why have you got to do me like this, man? This is what these lot have got me out here doing, you know. Wow, man. Honestly, it was an absolute shit show, man. Absolutely no one turned up. Like I said on my fan cam, the only person that done his job in that first half was Enzo Fernandez. He was the only one that was trying to make something happen. But in the second half, he tailed off as well. Do you know what I mean? Individually at the back, Terry, the same sort of mistakes that I've been seeing individually from our defenders were happening again. I don't understand what we do on set pieces because now it's becoming beyond a joke. Trippier had about 16 crosses in that game, by the way. The left-hand side was just getting cooked. Cucurella kept getting cooked. You know, Palmer, he was poor. Badiashile, I love him. He came in and kept giving. Cucurella got cooked. Yeah.
Terrible joke. I love a bad joke. Sorry.
Badiashile, he was poor as well. Like he kept giving the ball away and build up. You had Thiago Silva making amateur mistakes, and he was actually he set a record for oldest player now that's ever played for Chelsea. And then he literally showed it the other day that he's getting old. Do you know what I mean with that goal that he conceded, right? You had Reece James doing silly things, being sent off when the game was basically done. It was just an absolute shit show. Like that was definitely the worst performance of the season. Like there's not much for me to analyze tactically because we just weren't playing our game. You know, we built up a couple of times in the game, but overall Newcastle they didn't really have to do much because individually we were just poor as a collective. We were absolutely shocking. And what I said the other day on Never a Foul as well, like, you know, in school when you had a substitute teacher, Terry, yeah, when you'd come in and you realize, oh, your teacher's not in. And it's, oh yeah, we're not going to do no work today. We're just going to fuck about today. That's what I felt like when I was watching that game. These lot decided to just fuck about because Pochettino was up there watching the game from the stands. That's what it felt like to me. It felt like a bunch of players that didn't, obviously because they're young. They're young, right?
The kids, so, I'm not saying they did that because they're kids.
They're kids. This is what I'm saying. They were moving like real life delinquents, bro. Do you know what I mean? And that's not an excuse to lose in the game, right? Because they should have been able to play their game. And again, Pochettino's assistant manager should have been there as the manager for the game, right? But again, it just looked like they just wanted to do whatever. You know, it was an absolute shit show, man. And again, we had a few chances in the game. If you guys remember, Nick Pope made that mistake. Gallagher, if you've got better quality like an Nkunku there or Palmer there, that potentially could have been a goal. We go 2-1 up at that point. 1-1, I think. 1-0 up at that point, I think. But yeah, overall, Terry, it was just a shocking performance, man. No one turned up. And after the international break, I keep seeing this consistently now. After the break, we just come back and we're just shit. We're shit. Do you know what I mean?
I hear you. I do think
man.
Some of this is on you though, Don. I think you caused some of this. So I believe in the football gods. They're real to me. And it was 6 games ago on this very show where you were even though Man United were ahead of you then, you were laughing at us and saying you're in a better position than us. Since you said that, you've accumulated 8 points in the league. Man United accumulated 15. Like, I keep saying this, people, keep Man United out your mouths. My club's a shambles, right? We're awful. But unless you're really legitimately ahead of us, just don't talk about us. It seems to upset the football gods. Do you know what I'm saying, Don? I'm putting it on you, brother. I think you have cursed your club. Yeah, man. Listen, my club feels like it's got just a negative hold on it right now, man. We take 5 steps forward and then we take 10 steps back. Like, it's just an absolute joke right now. And Terry, I said before the game, I said it's not going to be an easy game. I said it doesn't matter who Newcastle put out, they're going to be well drilled. Every single person on that pitch knew their role. But let's not act as if Newcastle were prime Barcelona. They didn't have to do much to beat us. All they did was they wanted it more than us, and they took advantage of the individual mistakes that we made. We were shocking. I've got no excuses whatsoever. We were absolutely poor.
I think your club is an absolute shambles. I think it's a joke. I think your people who are making these purchases, players, I think are some of the most arrogant people in football. How you think, you can spend £1 billion on young players and just think it's gonna work? That is just absolutely ridiculous. Football's doesn't work like that. There's no guarantee that the players you've bought are gonna go on to be these world-class players that everyone thinks they are. There's no guarantee that Caicedo or Lavia or Nkunku or any of these players that you bought go on to be world-class players. If football was that easy, football clubs would have done that in the past. Ferguson would have done it. Pep would have done it. We've all just been buying all 20-year-olds. And you spent £1 billion, yeah, on all these players. You're banking on the fact that they're going to go on and be like world-class players. You've still got a mid-goalkeeper. You've still not got a proper striker. I think it's a disgrace, man, that £1 billion has been spent. I look at your team, and even accounting for injuries, I just look at it and go, am I seeing what I'm seeing? How is just £1 billion? I think your people are arrogant. I think it's ridiculous. You need new people in there to make better signings. You need a word with yourself about this strategy of signing kids. It don't work. If it did work, the greatest manager at the time all would have signed young players. But it doesn't work like that. Football does not work like that. And I think there's an arrogance that runs at your top level at your football club. That's my opinion, bro.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough to have that opinion, man. Listen, everyone's going to be skeptical about the young players that are coming in, like I've said. But honestly, yesterday, bro, even the experienced players were not.
I was going to say that one. Forget about the young players yesterday.
It's not the
experienced
players, bro.
What was he doing yesterday? The experienced player, the captain, literally just he knew he was new. He pretty much gave himself the red card. Like it was a needless challenge. Gave the ball away, trying to flick it over his head. What's he doing? Like his head's gone at 3-1 down.
He was getting ready for a night out in Newcastle.
The game was lost, Jords. The game was literally lost, Jords. You know, at that point as well. I don't understand why he did that.
Your Thiago Silva too, man. This guy is one of the most decorated centre backs we've ever seen. This guy is a legend of the game. He's going out like this. It's not.
That's
nice,
not like he's been doing this for Chelsea, man. Making mistakes.
Jords. Jords, relax, because the past few games.
It doesn't matter. Wait. He may have been good. He's had good stints at Chelsea, but let's not act like he hasn't made plenty of these mistakes that have caused you guys to concede goals over the past 2 or 3 seasons. He's done this time in and time out.
But you can't blame him though. You can't blame Thiago Silva.
You can't. Of course, you can blame him.
Wait, what?
The guy's 39 years old.
And he's still been playing at a high level. I know he needs to be phased out eventually. He needs to be phased out, but he's still playing at a high level, bro.
No, Thiago Silva's one of the best centre backs we've seen over the last 20 years. Yeah, I'm not sitting here blaming. I'm not sitting here blaming him when the guy's 39 years old. There is other people that needs to be blamed. Other players, managers, the people that are making these signings to sit here and blame.
He was at fault for the goal.
But we're talking about yesterday, though.
But you're not. You're also talking about the season as a whole. Chelsea Football Club. Where is Chelsea right now? You can't just look at Newcastle.
Yeah, yesterday. Saturday's result wasn't in a vacuum. That's the thing.
Exactly. Can't blame a
39. I get that.
Egal, I want to ask you a question. You called him out at the weekend, and I've seen a lot of people on socials calling him out since Saturday. But you were really going in on another, what you said was a very inadequate performance from Enzo Fernandez, considering he's £115 million. You know, you don't think that he's delivering enough for Chelsea for that level of money, having been there now the better part of a year.
When you know what? First of all, I'm going to get exactly to what you said, Terry, about Enzo Fernandez. But once again, I just want to say, bro, listen to me when I speak next time. I told you, Chelsea fans, that this was going to happen. Newcastle, you're going to lose. These are the type of teams that you struggle to beat. And guess what? My hypothesis is going to be proven right.
You're doing what you're doing to Spurs.
You know what this BetMGM is?
1 second.
Gal best win. He best win.
1 second.
Let him land. He's cooking himself.
My hypothesis is going to be proven right because you're now going to go on to beat Brighton. Remember, I told you guys, no banter against Brighton because they're probably going to beat Brighton. But Enzo Fernandez, let's take it back to him. He has to be the most protected. He has to be the most, you know what? He has the easiest job in the Premier League, as I said after the stream. Because guys, all of our clubs, when we sign a £100 million player, he's put to a different standard. He's held as the standard to be one of the best players, one of the highest paid players, one of your most expensive players, and he's supposed to be one of your best players. So he should perform like that. In his own area of the pitch, this season, he's not been their best midfielder. He's not asked to score goals. He's not asked to play make. He's not asked to get assists. He's not asked to be the guy who carries them out of the mud. He's not asked to be the guy who shows up when they're away, when they're at home. What is he asked to do? He's asked to be a complementary piece, to be a luxury at times when they're looking good. And when they're struggling and when they're down and out, he cannot get them out of that. We criticize guys like Paul Pogba. We criticize guys like Mesut Ozil for being a similar player, where they're great players, highly talented, but couldn't perform all the time. And when they do perform, they look amazing. But Enzo Fernandez has not returned even £2 of their £115 million transfer signing. As of yet, at this moment in time, he's not lived up to his potential. And at Chelsea, he might be a very talented player under there, but they don't have the pieces around him to utilize him the way they can. And as a player who is that kind of money, I would expect him to at least pick up the ball and do stuff with it and make himself a difference maker. And he's unable to do that. Against Newcastle, you got guys like Conor Gallagher and other guys stepping up. You have a 19-year-old in the midfield.
What?
You got a
Gallagher
19-year-old in the
stepping
midfield.
up.
1 second. You got a 19-year-old in the midfield who he should be helping guide him. You cannot criticize the 19-year-old. At times, I feel like the Chelsea fan base, they get away with it. I feel like Enzo Fernandez, he gets away with it because Poch gets the criticism when they lose. The attack gets the criticism when they lose. And guys like Reece James in the defense gets criticism when they concede 4 goals. But where is he? He only gets praised when they draw against City, when they draw against Arsenal, when they beat Tottenham. That's the only time he gets praised. And when they lose, they try to praise him again, say he's the best player. When really and truly, what is he doing to bring you guys through this game? I'm sorry. I am done with hearing about Enzo Fernandez, this great player, until he starts showing it on the pitch and starts producing wins. He's only had 7 wins in his time at Chelsea. How are you this amazing player, the best? You guys got frauded at this point.
Egal, what's his role? Let me ask you a question. What's Enzo Fernandez's role?
If he doesn't start producing you guys a winning team, if he doesn't start producing a winning team, eventually you guys are going to turn on him and you're going to say that you guys got defrauded by Benfica.
Lewis, you've obviously got brilliant midfielders at your club. Do you agree with what Egal was saying here about Enzo? Has he flattered to deceive so far in England?
I think so. I seen Enzo play when he was at River Plate with Alvarez. And yeah, Chelsea are not getting anywhere near the level what they need to. He was a lot better at River Plate than he was at Chelsea. And Egal's absolutely spot on. Don can try to defend it if he wants, but Enzo is not performing at the level, in my opinion, that he needs to. And this goes back to what I was saying before. You can buy all these young players, but that's not how football works. You know what I mean? You can buy them all in, but that doesn't mean they're going to all perform. And when you're spending big cash, not too bad if you're spending 10, 15 million pound gambles here or there. When you're spending the big money like Chelsea are doing on the likes of Enzo, they've got to perform. And you cannot sit here and say that Enzo has performed anywhere near the level that Chelsea expects when you spent 100 million quid on him. So he's nowhere near that level. Nowhere near.
But LB, you've just absolutely gone in on Chelsea's hierarchy, recruitment, rightly so, for everything. And surely you got to also think, well, the situation that Chelsea are in has played a part in these players not performing to the levels that they can do. Like we've seen it with Man United for years. You got Paul Pogba coming in, a player that they should be building around, a player that they should be getting the best out of. But out of all the money we spent since we bought him, we never got the best out of him. And yes, he never performed to what he could do. But then is there not arguments for what around him in terms of the players around him and the hierarchy around Enzo is not helping his situation either?
Even just on that, when you do look at a player of 100+ million pounds, let's be real, like they don't really get that saving grace. You're not going to give them 2 years to settle into the team, build up into it and sort of find their feet. They're just not going to get that. That's what the price tag comes with. The price tag comes with, show me now, show me what you've got. And yeah, look, certain players like Grealish and so on sort of had a year after 100 million pounds. We already knew what he had. So when he did have that bad season, everyone was like, Grealish is going to get back to what he was because we watched him for years at Villa. With Enzo, no one really knows what to expect from Enzo. And if we're being honest, we haven't even seen too many flashes of it. We've just seen little glimpses of, his technical ability is really good. It's up there technical-wise. He's got a really good passing range. But how consistent has he shown it? Not that often. And you have to look at the player and just say, look, it's not been good enough. It's just not been good enough. He's not shown enough to really cement himself even in the team. I would look at dropping him. I know, obviously, in Don's, he believes in Enzo and keeps giving him the chance. But me as a manager who hasn't seen much from him, once you do get the options of having playing Lavia, once he's back in the team once and Chukwuemeka's back in the team, I'd look at dropping Enzo because he's not been performing to the level of his own standards, let alone the Chelsea standard. Because in the World Cup, we all know this wasn't a player that we watched. Like we haven't seen him perform to that ability once. He's not shown that World Cup level since being with Chelsea.
Yeah, I would go back on the point that you just made, then, KJ. That yes, you can look at the what's going on with obviously the owners and stuff and the money that he's spent and is he in the right system and all that kind of shit. Yeah, but at the end of the day, he still has to show more. He can't just, he's a £100 million player. So yes, the end result and the sort of person you blame might be the person who's bought him. You know what I mean? The sporting directors or whoever. But he still has to show more. You look at Declan Rice, who's gone to Arsenal. Instant impact. You can see he's dominating games. Man of the match performances. When you're watching Enzo, he's not doing enough. He's got to step up. He's got to step up. Simple as that.
LB, and the thing is, LB, listen, I agree with you 110%. Enzo hasn't been at the level that I was seeing from him last year. Yeah, but what people are doing now is there's this narrative that Enzo does nothing, which is just false, right? If you go actually watch our games, 90 minutes, week in, week out, and go check the stats, because stats are always secondary, right? Me and Terry done a show last week. I think it's only Bruno Fernandez that is above him in terms of progressive play, right? Enzo is very key in how we build up. In terms of how you look at us right now, our style of play, Enzo Fernandez is key in that first phase, bro. He gets the ball, and he's the person that plays it into Palmer to allow Palmer to do what he does, right? Right now, what it is people looking at it on paper, they're not seeing the goals, they're not seeing the assists, and they're saying Enzo does nothing. But if you actually go break down the stats and actually watch him week in, week out, like I've said, 90-minute games, you see how important he is in build-up, from switching the play, like I've said, interceptions in midfield, keeping the ball ticking, dictating the game. He does that, bro. And like I've said, he's not at that level that he was at last year, because last year he had a sick performance against United at Old Trafford. He had a very good performance against you lot at Etihad. He had a good game, to be fair, against Arsenal in that second half. He's had good games, especially last year. He was playing up so many players that kept missing chances. But people are just going over the top saying Enzo does nothing. Enzo is very important in how we play. And like I've said, I expect him to level up. He's young. He's going to develop. I expect to start to see more goals. I expect to start to see more assists. I can't ignore the fact that Poch played him as a 10 for no reason in certain games this season and played Gallagher in the pivot when he's not meant to be there. But I think people are just overdoing this Enzo thing because he's not getting the goals and the assists. They will come eventually. They will come, and he should be doing more. I agree with you. But for people to say he's not doing anything, I don't agree with it, bro, because I watch us and I see Enzo popping the ball and dictating the game and progressing us from A to B. He does all of that, bro. He's very important in that. And the stats back it up, like I've said. So I don't agree with this notion, man, that he does nothing, in my opinion. That's just my opinion.
Viewers, let us know what you think about this Enzo Fernandez debate and conversation. Does he do enough for Chelsea? Is he warranting so far the £115 million price tag? Give us your thoughts and feelings. Of course, soon we're going to be doing the golden goals ahead of the Champions League fixtures this weekend. Make sure you get the app downloaded with BetMGM. It's free to enter the game, each match game. It's free to play, free to download. And if you get 6 correct scores, over 3 on Tuesday and 3 on Wednesday for the Champions League games, you can win. You will win if you get all 6 correct. £2 million British pounds into your bank account, tax-free. You've got to be over the age of 18 and you have to reside in the UK to be able to play this. So scan the QR code or click on the link now to get the app ready for when we play it later in this show. This here says, let's go to some of these super chats here. It says, do you remember, guys, when Don said Chelsea had better than Arsenal in XG, defense, and better football just to go 14 points behind and concede 10 more goals? That's what Dave has got to say here.
A lot of revisionism, but we move.
How's that revisionism? Just out of interest, I don't know what you mean.
Because we did have more XG than them when I spoke about that at the time. We just wasn't taking our chances. So we can't change history.
Okay, I get what you mean. Emerson, I say already done that super chat there. I apologize. 16 points, 1/3 of the season gone. 1 win in 5 is what O'Malley says here.
It's not good enough. It's not good enough.
Is Reece James really captain material?
Nah.
Well, it doesn't help that he doesn't play that much because of injuries.
Yeah,
you know what I
that's
mean?
the main
So
thing.
he's not even on the pitch most of the time to be a captain. But in terms of his qualities, I feel like he could have it, but again, I think it might have been a bit too early for him. I think he needs a bit more experience in this.
Why is Thiago Silva not the captain? That's still I don't get it.
Bro, the guy's gonna get phased out. He's gonna get phased out. That's what it is.
Yeah. That'll be the reason.
Anyways,
I agree. Chelsea rebuild will take time. Now they're not cheating, is what said here. This is from Ricky to you, Don. He says, Don, he's actually got your name right. He normally calls you Dom. He's got it Don. What makes you think Nkunku is going to be your savior? I pity the pressure Nkunku is under already because of his absence.
I never said he's going to be our savior. I said he's going to come in and definitely help us score more goals, but everyone needs to chip in. It's a collective. I'm not just looking at one player.
I hear you on that. Analyzing Chelsea's signings thus far, who came good and who is trash? So much spent, no standards, no standard 11 still. 200 million for Osherman. Spending goes on. Oh, yeah, I mean, how many in the Bowley era would you look at and go, so far that has been a quality signing that's delivering for you?
What, me personally?
Yeah. Just who stands out as the best?
Yeah, I'd say so far the
Palmer?
best signing. Yeah, Palmer. Palmer's definitely been the best signing. Yeah,
I
Palmer's
would
been
just
the
say
best
Palmer and Sterling. That's it. Everything else been on the
Sterling stepping up this year. Don says Chelsea is a young team. Newcastle played a 17-year-old. He had an assist. Lol. Can we stop with this young team gaslighting? Lol is what banter on the pitch says.
I never blamed that loss on us having a young team, because our young team had a lot of quality on that pitch. As a collective, even the older players like Thiago Silva, 39 now, were poor. Everyone was poor. So
I don't even think it's gaslighting. I think it's just rival fans. We all expected the fact you had a young team for all these things to happen, and it's just facts.
Yeah. No, I hear that.
Should have still beaten them with that team.
Gav here says, to be fair, Enzo's poor performances have followed international games. Still need more from him, though, is what Gav has got to say.
I think a lot of PTSD from that brawl that he had in
when has he had a good performance and been the best midfielder? Besides the Liverpool game, I don't see one game where he was
solid at Fulham. He was very good at Fulham. That was another good performance that he put out. Him, Caicedo, and Gallagher. They were very good that day.
I don't see him as a standout in any of these games except for the Liverpool game.
I just reminded you, Fulham, he was good, very good.
Joe here says, football gods, please ignore Egal. He does not support Arsenal. I promise. He does not represent Arsenal fans. He's only saying that. He's just saying that from a football god's point of view. It's only a bit of fun. Cheers, Joe. Thank you. We're going to come back to some more of your super chats later because they're kind of connected to other clubs as opposed to the Chelsea topic that we are on. I did want to ask you all, when it comes to the big game at the weekend, Man City, Liverpool, it kind of feels like it's an eternity ago because Chelsea got beat, Arsenal won, you then got Spurs' defeat, you had United winning and everything going on with the weird corrupt signs that Everton were putting up. Still don't understand that. 24 hours later, how somebody's corrupt for punishing you for a rule you admitted to break in. I'm still confused. It's strange to me. But City versus Liverpool, not the best result in the world for you, Lewis, but I wanted to get your take on that goal that was disallowed because a lot of ex-referees have come out and said that it should have stood. That would have put you 2-0 up, or is that just not something you're focusing on as a fan base?
No, it's not, no, you're right. We don't focus on that as a fan base, innit? We look inwards, we look at ourselves, what could we have done better? We don't release statements and that, but it was obviously not a foul. It was never a foul. You look at there's a camera angle behind a goal and Alisson's just had a nightmare, absolute nightmare. Akanji hardly touches him. It is a contact sport. Remember, guys, you can touch people. So, yeah, what's he just meant to do? Just watch him catch the ball. He's got to go challenge for it. It's never a foul. It should have stood. But as you say, we look inwards. We look at ourselves. What could we have done better to have won the game? You know, poor finishing. Needed to be a little bit better on the chance creation. Not the worst result in the world. Not the best result. We take it and move and try and improve. We got Spurs coming up at the weekend, so hopefully we'll get the dub there. But yeah, it's what it is, really. You know what I mean? We'll just take it and move on. But it was never a foul. No way.
If Onana can do what he did against Wolves, then surely that's not a foul. Like, surely not. And I know people online are saying, well, yeah, Man City, they got away with the same thing against Bellingham in Dortmund in the Champions League. But like, that still doesn't mean that this one shouldn't have been disallowed either. You know what I mean? Like the consistency is a massive issue in this game right now, because you can't say Gabriel wasn't fouled for a light push in the back and then say this is a foul because Alisson leans into him and fumbles the catch. Like, he has to be stronger there, Alisson. Like, Alisson is considered the best goalkeeper in the world. Surely he has to be stronger there, claim the ball, and if he's going to get fouled, it's a clear, blatant foul.
Alisson
have the PG or MOL apologized? Is this a mistake?
Not yet. There's been nothing out from them yet. But the thing is, I don't think you'll get one because Man City and its fans haven't made a big song and fair play to them. City fans can do what they want. They haven't made a big song and dance about it. So PG, MLL, what's the point? There's no point in kicking the hornet's nest themselves and saying we made another mistake. They'll ignore it. But on Alisson,
it'd be interesting. Just quickly before you move on to Alisson, it'd be interesting to hear the VAR audio on that if they do release it, because are they going to look at it and say, no, he's got that right, that's a clear foul? Or like, you know, I'm going to be very interested to listen to the audio. But yeah, like you say, not really that bothered. I was actually very pleasantly surprised, Terry. I was thinking, right, I went after the game, I was like, what's he going to say? Bet he said it was a foul, didn't he? And to be fair, you know what I mean? I thought it was very fair in your description of it, so fair play. But yeah, it was never a foul. I mean, I am interested to hear the VAR audio. And as you say, Alisson was shocking, man. And that, he's not, it's not the first time he's done that against City. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is. The big occasions, I don't know. But he was so poor. I mean, Edison just looked by far the better goalkeeper. Some of his passing was absolutely outrageous from Edison. But this is not the first time we've seen this from Alisson.
I feel like people are being harsh on Alisson because, yeah, he did make a few mistakes. But even when you look at some of the other...
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. When he looks at some of the other saves he made, they were like class saves, like for Foden when he got down to that corner, right in the corner.
But when it's a big game, it's more margins.
I think he was injured.
It cost him the goal, didn't it?
Yeah, well, he got injured towards the end.
He got injured towards the end of the game.
I think he was injured early in the game, and he only started to feel it more and more later in the game.
Some
of the actions he was making. One second, this is when I put my conspiracy Egal hat on. But I really do believe someone did it. There was no way Alisson is putting in that kind of performance. One, he came back from international break. That it could have happened on international duty, could have happened anytime, but maybe he wasn't 100% because that was an uncharacteristic performance from Alisson, in my opinion.
He's done it before.
Players can have poor games, man.
Poor games ago, man. What's this excuse about he was injured at the beginning? He was fine to me.
You know, Alisson, I think Alisson is the best goalkeeper in the world, by the way. So this is not like an agenda. He does this. There are games where he is awful, but he gets away with it. The amount of times that passes goes into the opposition players, easy passes get intercepted, and he's either makes up.
But KJ, you're saying awful relative to the standards you hold him to, because his awful is still better than 90% of the goalkeepers in the league. Like,
no, I hear it. Do you know where I agree though? Is I would love Alisson to be the Man United goalkeeper, not just because I think he's the best in the world, also, but when he does do poorly. It is very quickly, and I remember a couple of seasons ago, he had a period where it was bad for a number of games against City. I think City beat him 4-1 or something, and he had and he had some poor, but he's left alone. But we all know there are certain clubs with certain goalkeepers, and I'm not going to name them, where one or two mistakes and their backline, their headlines are written, the cameras are always ready to focus upon them. And Onana's gone for it this year, and he had 3 or 4 really poor games. Last 5 or 6 games, Onana has been absolutely impeccable, and I don't expect him to be lauded because he's doing his job, but the way they went in on him, I've seen many a goalkeeper have bad games and make mistakes, and they're just completely left alone. So that element I'm genuinely jealous of, because I just wish that we had a goalkeeper that when he made mistakes was left alone, because we all know media pressure don't help. Look what happened to Ramsdale. When I will get onto Arsenal later in the show, but Ramsdale made 2 crazy mistakes which they got away with, and all of that has been built up by the media. They're blaming Arteta for it, but the media are the ones who've created this absolute like sideshow of the goalkeeper situation. And you know the world's looking at him. You know they were ready to pan that camera to Ray's face at any moment. You know the commentators, when it's Onana, are ready to speak about David De Gea. And that element, I'd say, that's where Alisson is lucky that he's left alone by the media. Because if he makes mistakes like that and then the pressure comes on top because of the mainstream media, that can hurt your team. So
Terry, you know it is though, Terry. It's because he's got credit in the bank. Like, like Liverpool, they get saved so many times because of him.
I feel like the Liverpool fan base are just really good at protecting their players. You don't really see Liverpool fans.
They're gonna unfollow,
right? Like they don't come out and go bring out the public. Arsenal, you see them having debates about Ramsdale and Raya every other day. Like that's why the media.
No, because you can't really call out Alisson like that though, because of how good he is. We've literally said he's the best keeper in the world. So for Liverpool fans to like start going over the top like yesterday due to his performance, it'll be a bit like, come on now, like how
they're going to miss him.
No, I don't expect the fans to do it, but again, where I would counter what you said there about credit in the bank, David De Gea went for a period where he was one of the best goalies in the world and the best in the Prem. He'd then make a mistake and the headlines would be there. And hang on a minute, the guy's the best in the league and he's made one mistake in like 3 years and you're on him. I just see it differently. Michael here says, well, why is Terry not admitting City were cheated? Go watch. You people, honestly, that call me out have got to go and start watching my match reactions. Go and watch the damn thing. And then I make a lot of content. Go watch the match reaction and see exactly what I said. I called it out. And I called it out from the...
what you've got to remember, Terry, is if the media start coming out and slagging Alisson off, every Liverpool fan will start a petition to get the media paper shut down. So, they've got to be a little bit careful about what they do.
You know what? They're the best at that, though. Liverpool fans.
People in the chat are saying,
Liverpool fans protect their players very
people
well.
in the chat are saying, look what happened to Karius. But that's the thing about Liverpool fans. They're so good at protecting their players, but when they're ready to turn, it is.
Yeah, when they turn, it's over. When they turn, like they're very good like that. Like they're very good at protecting their club, and I like how Liverpool fans control the narrative about their club, and it is very, very important to do that at times. As I was saying yesterday about young Kobe, it's like I love what he did, but slow down a little bit in terms of. I said, don't use him as a tool to beat another player over the head with, because all you do is create more attention than is absolutely necessary.
But on Liverpool though, Terry, I just want to say something about the game. Yeah, like for me, Liverpool. This is why I don't see them winning the league, man. Because again, it showed me that they've got a big hole in that midfield. I was saying on the Egal show yesterday, bro. From time Akanji's having 10 seconds on the ball to turn, that guy takes about 5 touches, to just turn his body, right? You know that you've got a big problem in there. And Liverpool, if you realize, they weren't pressing as high as what they normally do, because if they did, they would have left McAllister by himself. I feel sorry for him because he's been played out of position. That's why I don't go in on him too much, because I know what he is, and he's not a ball winner. You saw what Doku done to him. He just ran past him like he wasn't there. Do you know what I'm saying? So Liverpool, they need a DM in January, man. Games like the other day, Man City were just popping them, bro. Triangles in that midfield. If Man City had KDB, they win that game by a couple goals, in my opinion, because they were lacking that creativity. And in the second half, they could have run away with it as well, because the chances that they missed. But honestly, man, Liverpool, that midfield, when they face a team that have a proper midfield, it's peaking there for them. It's long. The triangles are long. It's long for them.
Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say, I heard there's a rumor going out. I'm not sure if it's true, but Alisson might be injured now. And,
5 weeks.
Yeah. So if he is gonna miss those games, Adrian's gonna be coming in.
Adrian, he hasn't played. Is it not Kelleher?
He's got Kelleher.
Is it Kelleher? Okay, so Kelleher is going to be coming in. You know what? I don't think Liverpool could drop points versus Fulham, Sheffield United, Crystal Palace. They're fortunate, but if he's out for the West Ham, Manchester United, and Arsenal games, it could be peak for them.
Kelleher's good. Do you know one thing about Alisson? Alisson makes so many saves for Liverpool, which 95% of other goalkeepers don't, especially in one-on-ones. There's been so many, the amount of times their fans have come onto match reactions and gone, God, we deserve to win today, but if we didn't have Alisson in goal, it could have been a draw or we could have been defeated. So it's going to be a big miss for them. But the draw was very good for the title race, I think. It's City, just for a title race perspective, City dropping points in the first half of the season has to happen. If they don't, they run away with it, because we know how City are going to end the campaign. So just from a neutral perspective, and hopefully having at least 2, if not 3 teams in a title race, City dropping some points was really good. But this weekend they're playing Spurs. Spurs have got half a team missing. So it's interesting, because a lot of Spurs fans are talking about City and you're their bogey team. Do you still think Spurs will be City's bogey team now that you play open and expansive football?
We could do, but definitely not at the Etihad.
I reckon against Spurs at the Etihad is actually decent. I think they've won once since 2000.
I think the last time we won, like the last game there, I think that was the one where Harry Kane made us win 3-2. But apart from that, we don't beat him at the Etihad ever.
Yeah, okay. Tell them the truth, Kate. You're the wisdom of Spurs. What?
I don't know about that. I expected us to get absolutely slaughtered at the Etihad. I think it'll be a mauling, because we leave so much space. I think if we had our first 11, I'd be going there with some little tiny bit of confidence. We may possibly, if everything goes our way, get a draw. But now, looking at the team we've got and City, I think they're going to absolutely eat us for breakfast.
If you play like you did against Villa, man, I'll be very happy with that, man.
Lewis, I've got a question for you. Yeah, like, bro, do you think that obviously right now when I watch you guys, similar sort of thing as Arsenal, you're not looking as fluid as what you were looking like obviously last year. KDB is a big miss, obviously, and Alvarez in that 10 role for me just doesn't really work, right? What are you just kind of waiting as a City fan? Are you just waiting for KDB now? Because it seems like a lot of your creativity is coming from Doku, or how would you sort of go about it to fix that issue, man? Because it's a recurring thing now. It's really becoming a recurring thing in terms of how you create right now.
Yeah, we're just kind of chilling, man. We're just sort of like taking it easy, bro. Honestly, man. We're just invested in it like you guys. We know we'll get to February. Kevin De Bruyne will come back. Haaland will be there. John Stones will be there, and we'll go on a mad run. And
what if KDB is not looking? What if KDB is not looking the same though? What if KDB doesn't come back looking the same?
KDB's looking fresh now.
Yeah, bro. I saw a video of KDB. That man's hips look ruined, bro. Man looks stiff.
He looks skinny.
Nah,
I got to ask these things. You didn't answer the question, did you?
Guys, LB, you just said you didn't care. It is what it is. This is what I hate about City. Pep even had to get his fans up out of their seats for a game. Like, you guys are not invested. You guys not invested in the title race. You're not invested in the season until it gets to late in the season. Your fans are showing that they're not caring.
No, Egal, but you don't understand. This is why it's a joke. The team are that good. LB can sit there and look at him. Man's chilling, bro.
He doesn't know the answers himself.
We don't have to struggle for it.
I'm going to defend City fans here. When I had my season tickets at Man United, it was from sort of the mid-2000s until, I had it for like a decade. And I always used to get bantered by friends of mine. My dad would do it. Oh, Old Trafford, bad atmosphere. And it's because we were so confident we'd beat 95% of the teams that arrived. It was hard to get up for games. Like, genuinely, you would sing and you'd do things, but it was just it was so chilled. I very rarely went to Old Trafford thinking, we might lose today. A couple of teams a year, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, and those atmospheres were amazing. So I understand why it's a little bit lukewarm at the Etihad sometimes, because they're just so confident and relaxed and laid back. They have no anxiety, and it's just I know it's annoying for rivals, but I completely get it, because United were there 10, 15, 20 years ago. I know exactly how it feels.
I don't get it. I've never known that feeling in my whole life, and I'm so jealous right now.
No, but Terry, it's a problem when they treat a Premier League match like it's a Europa League game.
No, it's not a problem.
What are you talking about?
It's not a problem.
What do you mean we treat it like a Europa League game? What you
Bro, this is what I mean. Liverpool City, 12:30 kickoff. It's one of the biggest games of the season because it's against a team that you're competing against for the last couple of years. It's supposed to be a big rivalry game, and your fans can't even get up to it, to the point where your manager has to say after the game, I wanted them to show more energy.
I agree.
It is a problem. You might not want to address it because your team keeps winning.
Let me tell you something.
It is a problem.
No, let me tell you something, yeah? So, first of all, 12:30 kickoffs are never perfect for atmospheres. And two, the only reason our manager's the only one that says it is because our manager's the only one with any balls to actually say it, yeah? All clubs in this country have the same issue with atmosphere. And to say you don't, then you're just lying, yeah? Some clubs have music playing through the speakers to artificially enhance the noise levels. But none of your managers can say that because they know they'll get absolutely cooked. We'll take it, and I'm sure the next game, the City fans will be
like you said, though,
make a racket.
Pep will say it because he's got no fans to answer to.
You're a Spurs fan, man. You're a Spurs fan.
He's got no one to answer. No, there's going to be no outrage from the fans.
Okay.
Literally, that sounded like you lot were playing behind closed doors. I'm gonna be real with you. I'll be like,
when Trent shushed the crowd, they actually listened. That's the problem.
I've heard he's getting banned for that.
I didn't hear that he might have something for that. I ain't taking that from an Arsenal fan, yeah. Because when I went down to your place, let Lewis speak. I went down to your place, yeah, when it was snowing, right, and we took 3,000 fans down there, and your stadium was empty. It was an absolute disgrace. Neville called it out on Sky Sports. Now you're all buzzing. What? Because Arteta's got your second place. And you've got a dog running around the place, and all your fans are all buzzing all of a sudden. So I won't take nothing from you. You need to win a Premier League. You need to win a Champions League. Warrior UCL for Arsenal. Still never won a Champions League. And then we'll speak. But for you to talk about City fans, when your stadium was empty at City versus Arsenal a few years ago, just because there was a bit of snow, when 3,000 City fans made the journey down, that was embarrassing, man.
Why are you always lying? Why are you lying, bro?
No, he's not lying. It was empty. It was empty, bro. It was empty.
Wait, also, you know why you got a problem?
Bro, everybody sat at home everyone that was there, everyone that seen that game knew that game was painted as one of the biggest games of the season. The crowd, you couldn't even buy a ticket. There were so many Arsenal fans there that there's people outside waiting to see if they can get a ticket to go in last minute. I don't know what you're talking about empty. I'm thinking you're confusing
empty.
Emirates.
I was there, bro. It was empty,
sorry,
man.
That is crazy to even try to say.
I think you're forgetting the game.
Second of all, the reason why I said when Trent shushed the crowd, everyone went quiet is because you tried to do that at Anfield. You tried to do that anywhere else. When you give it to the crowd, they're supposed to give it back. Your crowd just sat down and said, "You know what? We'll have our tea and chill."
Yo, Egal. Okay, listen.
You
You can tell the different levels of club when you're doing up flipping crowd Olympics, man. Like the fan Olympics, like our crowd's better than your crowds. One, the main thing is this: the reason why it doesn't matter how Man City fans are when they're in their home ground is because they're in teams that good that they just win. They could win with 5 people in there, or 100,000 people in there, 20 people. It doesn't matter for Man City. Their team is that good. Arsenal, Man United, Spurs, we might need the fans to make a noise and give us a little uplift because we're not as good as City, and we need an extra advantage.
Everyone knows that they play fake crowd noise at the Emirates. It's the most famous stadium for it because your fans are just always
do
so
they?
Yeah, they do.
No.
Yeah. And yes, you know they do. And LB,
I don't know that.
Egal,
they play fake noise at your ground.
That's why it's called the empty crate. There's never any atmosphere there.
One second. Anyone who's done an Emirates stadium tour, if they played fake noise, wouldn't they play it for everyone when they do a stadium tour? They don't do that at the Emirates. I've seen it at Anfield.
Why would they do that during the week? Why would they do that during the stadium?
I don't know. What's going on there?
Listen.
In the tour, you know. What's going on?
Why would they play it on the tour?
Anyway, the funniest thing is, Egal, you're sitting here trying to defend it when I've literally seen plenty of tweets the past 2 weeks of Arsenal fans themselves complaining about the atmosphere at 3 o'clock kickoffs because last week, prior to the international break, you guys were leaving 15 minutes to go with the game left.
Yep.
Half of your fan
George,
base are walking out 75 minutes in.
Are you talking about the Manchester United game?
Call yourself about atmosphere. You haven't got one if you're leaving.
Listen,
what happened to those guys?
Honestly,
What happened to the guys in the black
people
t-shirts?
who leave games early. So you're
Egal, what happened to that little clan that you lot have? The black t-shirts, the drums, and they go on the bridges and make noise.
You know what happened?
The Ashburton Army.
Them
Arsenal messed up. In my opinion, the club started this ticket process where they do ballots instead of first come first serve to try to make it more fair. But what it's done is it's allocated tickets that were usually going to the Ashburton Army people to other people, and it's kind of spread them up.
So you do have an atmosphere issue.
One question about the Ashburton Army. What is Ashburton? I don't know. What is Ashburton?
I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know
that video of them like in some alleyway banging
don't know
drums.
what the name is. Where the name originates
I'm
from.
googling it here. Ashburton and Arsenal. Let me remove the Army bit and Google it. Ashburton and Arsenal. The history of Ashburton Grove, Highbury Stadium. Is that? I don't know what it means. Someone in the comments must say. Is that a road that the stadium was on or something? Ashburton Grove. Oh, so Ashburton Grove is the road that the Emirates Stadium is on. That's what it is.
Oh, fair enough.
There we go.
Maybe that's the road that they come walking in from. But personally, for me, Terry, what they've done this season with the way they changed the ticket process, it's kind of affected this the stadium, in my opinion. But hey, long story short, the reason why I was saying this is because of the fact that the Ashburton Army are not as loud as last season because there's not as many of them allocated in that area. They've kind of split them up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They're all at the Etihad supporting Man City now. That's why.
I've seen the Ashburton Army. I just thought they all got grounded by the mum and dad, to be honest with you. I thought they were all grounded. Listen, we're going to be talking Arsenal and the title race coming up soon in the show and debating what the best goal in Premier League history is. So make sure you stay with us. Don't go anywhere. But before that, we are going to be talking about golden goals. If you haven't got this done already, make sure you go and get it done right about now. And we're going to start off with predictions for the Champions League games. £2 million is being given away by our partners BetMGM. So make sure you get signed up now. You've got to be over the age of 18. It's free to play. It doesn't cost you anything. First game, though, on the list this week is Paris Saint-Germain versus Newcastle. And Lewis, you've gone for a 2-1 win to Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah, I don't know why, man. I keep on predicting Newcastle to lose, but they keep winning every time I predict them to lose. So there you go. Maybe it's a little bit of a positive jinx there. I don't know, man. It's a big result, wasn't it, for Newcastle? But I don't know. Can they go to Paris Saint-Germain and get another result after just beating Chelsea? I don't know if they've got enough energy in the tank. So yeah, I'm just gonna give it PSG, man. But I keep getting it wrong on Newcastle, so don't listen to me.
I hear you. But I've done fairly similar. Here's my predictions here. I've gone with 3-1 to Paris Saint-Germain. I just think in Paris, the quality PSG have got, it would just be a little bit too much, as we saw in the back-to-back games against Dortmund. So, yeah, I'd love Newcastle to win, but my prediction, because I'm trying to win 2 million quid, so this ain't about loyalty or hope. This is about what I think will happen. I've gone 3-1. Next on the list, with KJ, you've gone 2-0.
Yeah, Mbappe vengeance. I think he's just going to be on this one. I think he'll probably despise the fact that he lost to 4-0 to Newcastle. And I feel like him and the boys will put in a good performance. So, yeah, 2-0.
Fair enough. Next up on here, we've got Don. We've got your predictions on here. You've gone with 3-1, same as me.
Yeah. I think, Dembele looks like he's finally doing a little something. I saw a clip the other day of a goal that he scored. Looked really good, man. I think it's going to be a bit too much for Newcastle, to be honest, for this one. Especially their bench as well. It's going to be quite weak. So, yeah, expect PSG to beat them.
That makes sense. Next game on the list we're looking at, we'll keep it with you, Don, is Barcelona versus Porto. You've gone for 2-0 to Barcelona.
Yeah, I just think that they're gonna beat them because of the fact that they're at home. I just don't see Porto winning this game, to be honest. So yeah, I've gone 2-0. 2-0 for that
2-0.
one.
That makes sense. KJ, you've gone with 3-1 Barcelona.
Yeah, they're at home. Barca still they're still growing under Xavi and they're doing well. This is not the same Porto side that was dominating the Champions League a few seasons ago. So yeah, I think they'll get a goal and Barcelona will score 3.
I've gone with 2-1 Barcelona. I think they'll win. I agree. I just think they've not been that great this year. I know they've had problems in the league, but I think they'll have too much for Porto. And Lewis, your prediction on here comes in at 2-1.
Yeah, I'm not massively confident in that though, man. Barcelona only 2 wins in the last 5. Lost the last Champions League game against Shakhtar. So not very confident, but home advantage. I'll give them a 2-1.
That makes sense. And staying with you, Lewis, Feyenoord Atletico, 2-0 to Ati you've gone with.
Yeah, I've only seen Atletico once this season, but they were very good in it against the El Clasico. So yeah, I'll keep it tight. Not a team that usually scores a lot of goals. I think 2-0, pretty solid score prediction. Yeah,
I've gone with 2-1. I'll be honest with you, I'm not. I love this game. I love golden goals, but I'm not a fan of. I've done it once or twice on here, but I don't like predicting no goals because as soon as one goes in, you can't win. But yeah, I've gone with 2-1. I think they'll have too much Ati in this game. KJ, you've gone with 3-2. You've gone for a big scoreline.
Yeah, Feyenoord are the champions of the Dutch league, so they're not an easy team to go play against. So yeah, I feel like at home they'll have a good fighting chance. I just think Atleti will have just enough firepower just to beat them and edge it in the end.
There we go. And Don, your prediction for this was 1-1. You're going for a draw, a different flavour.
Yeah, I don't know. I've just got a feeling that Feyenoord are going to get something from this even. So yeah, I've gone for 1-1.
Fair dues. And then the next game's from Wednesday night, and it's Arsenal versus Lens. How do you see that game?
I've said 2-1. Arsenal have been good at home, to be fair, in the Champions League, but I think Lens might have a little something for them, to be honest with you. So yeah, I've said 2-1 just because, again, they're not looking as fluid right now. So yeah, I'll say 2-1 Arsenal. I think they'll win, but yeah, 2-1. I think it'll be a close margin for this one.
2-1. And KJ, yourself?
I said 2-0. I think it'll be a nice professional performance from Arsenal. They'll get the job done. Score a goal in the first half and then score one in the second, and it'll be nice and clean for them. No massive scares.
Yeah, I mean, I've predicted 3-0, actually. I think they'll put them to bed. I think it'll be relatively easy for them. I don't think Arsenal will have any problems this week, get themselves qualified, get themselves through. Lewis, you've gone with 3-1 to Arsenal.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I just thought I'd give Lens a goal just because it's a Champions League. I think he might open up slightly a bit more than he does in the Prem. So I've give them a goal. But yeah, I'm kind of the same reasons as you. I think they'll put them to bed. It's just whether or not they concede a goal or not. But I give them a goal.
Yeah, and one of the big games on Wednesday night, Real Madrid versus Napoli. You've gone with 2-1 to Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu.
Yeah, obviously it's at the Bernabeu, so you are favouring Real Madrid, but Napoli are no mugs, man. They're a decent team. So yeah, I think they can score 2-1, something like that. Should be a good game, that actually.
They're missing Vinicius, isn't it, for this? He's injured.
Yeah. But Rodrigo is in some very fine form.
Yeah, I saw that.
And obviously the boy Jude. So.
Oh yeah.
Well, I've gone with 2-0, but it's the deadline to get these in for viewers is 8 p.m. Tuesday night. Then whatever you predict is locked in. I am thinking of changing this. I even think I think they could score more than 2 against Napoli. Napoli are not as good this season as they were last year, and Jude Bellingham is just.
You're not giving Napoli a goal, Terry. You're not giving Napoli.
But I might. I'm actually thinking of listen. I might go and give Lens a goal and Napoli a goal just because, just because I'm trying to win this £2 million. I told you I'm looking to retire early. I'm trying to win this, and then KJ can take over the channel because I'm sailing off to the Bahamas, mate. That's what I'm doing if I win. So yeah, I might change that tomorrow. But right now I've got 2-0 in for that. KJ, you've gone with the same score, 2-0 to Real Madrid.
Yeah, I think they'll get a job done in the end. Jude will score. That's all I'm saying. My star boy.
And you've gone 3-1 there, Don.
Yeah. I don't see Napoli not scoring, in all honesty, but I think Madrid are just going to have too much firepower, especially at home, man. Rodrigo, he looked warm the other day, to be honest. Jude just doing what Jude does. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a comfortable margin for them with a couple goals.
Makes perfect sense. And then the final game on Golden Goals this week is going to be, I'm just looking at it here in front of me. It's Benfica versus Inter, another really good clash. You've gone with 1-1.
To be honest, that's when I looked at that game, I said, yeah, that's got 1-1 written all over it. I haven't watched into this season, to be fair, or Benfica, but I just predicted it. I said, you know what, I'll go for 1-1 for this one. No particular reason. I haven't watched any of their games at all this year.
You've gone 2-1 to Inter, KJ. You're back in the Italian.
Is just straight out of my arse, basically. I have no idea what to go with for this one, so I just said 2-1 to Inter Milan. Why not?
I hear you. I've gone with a draw as well on this one. I've gone with 2-2. A little bit like I haven't watched either team play any games this season, so it's a little bit of a shot in the dark. But I definitely wanted to make it a score draw in that game. And Lewis, you've gone with 1-1. Another draw in that game for you as well.
Yeah, similar sort of reasons. Not really watched him, to be honest. Don't really know what to expect. So just hope for the best, and hopefully that will be the result to get me to 2 mil.
Well, a few people in the comments saying that Inter are balling out and Benfica have been trashed. So again, I might do a little bit more research before I lock my scores in tomorrow.
Trust the chats, football IQ. Are we really?
I trust my community, bruv. This community is like a reflection of me. I never get any predictions wrong. I never get any opinions wrong. So no, it's a joke. Of course, it's a joke. But listen, people, get signed up now to Golden Goals via BetMGM. You've got to be over the age of 18, but it is free. Free to download the app. It's free to play. You don't need to deposit any money with on the application to use it. And every Champions League game week, every round of Premier League games, £2 million is up for grabs. If you don't get all 6 right, you could go into there's a pot of £5,000 every game week as well, where the person or persons with the most amount of correct scores go into a hat. I think it was, I might get the number wrong, but 15 odd people won around 250 quid at the weekend because they got 3 correct results. But still, even if you win £300 for a free to play game, it's well worth a go. So get signed up to it now, people, and let us know. We'll, over the next few days, we'll review it and see how everybody is getting on. Now, back to so go on, mate.
By the way, the stadium is built on Ashburton Grove. I'm dumb blonde moment right there for me.
Wait.
You still going on about that?
Bro,
Still going on about that?
I was taken back by it. I was like, why is it called Ashburton? I was tripping for a second, and then I'm like, I've heard Ashburton Grove so many times. How the hell did I not remember that? It bothered me.
Yeah, that's as funny. That's as funny as Egal as when you said that Robin van Persie came through your academy. That's Egal
said that.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. You asked me a question about players, young players, and then you didn't clarify if it was academy or not. And then I said Van Persie because he came in.
I hear you, mate. I hear you. On Arsenal at the weekend, though, Egal, a really important win. You go back top of the league, and the much maligned Kai Havertz scored the winning goal. Did the sort of, I don't know what that celebration is, like stag do celebration. Reflecting on it sort of 48 hours later, how important was that win, and how does it set you up as we now hit this festive period of football?
Terry, it's a massive boost for Kai Havertz's confidence, number one. Number two, it's good for us to finally be back at the top of the table after last year when people thought, you know what, could they do it again, and everything else. And it's just showing that we're building the right habits, continuing to grow as a team. And for Kai Havertz specifically, he's coming off the bench making a difference where people were criticizing him for not scoring goals, for not making a difference. And not only does he score a goal, but he scores a very impactful goal to help us win. So this is great to help us kickstart the rest of our season. But one thing we need to improve on is capitalizing on taking our chances, because I feel like we're creating enough chances. We're just not taking them well. We've been extremely clinical when we do score some of these goals in some of these games, but most of the time we just don't take that risk. We just don't take that extra chance. And overall, there's a lot of improvement to do. But for Kai Havertz, this can only make the team better, and this can only make him better going forward. And hopefully, this can kickstart him to have a good couple months going forward.
You're in dreamland, bro.
Why am I in dreamland?
One goal, and then you're talking like, oh, this is gonna go on and do it. No, come
on,
man.
One goal can change a lot of things. You never know.
Yeah, but you don't have to be so positive about it. Like this, it's only one game, it's one goal.
Bro, I wasn't overly positive. I said there's still a lot that we need to improve on.
No, about Havertz though. He was about Havertz.
About Havertz, bro. Because Havertz. The thing is, Havertz is actually not supposed to be our main man. He's not supposed to be the guy who has to deliver every day. The guy is just.
So what's he been doing?
Hold on. You see what I'm saying, Egal? You wanted to talk about price earlier. So what you're telling me now is that goal he's given back what, £5? You've earned about £5.
No, like maybe 3 million because we got 3 points. But as long as £5. One second. We can take positive away from a game where he gets the game winner coming off the bench and making a difference. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying he's going to pull up trees and be the best player ever after this. I'm just saying we can be positive coming out of this. It was just a couple months ago where everyone was saying this guy's a flop. He's going to you guys are going to be angry about him. Right now, I'm not angry about the signing. I'm just happy that he made a difference.
No, stop lying to yourself, Egal. You are angry about the signing, bro. The Arsenal fans are angry about this Havertz signing. Stop lying to yourself.
It's so funny. You know what? I'm happy. I'm happy that the same day that Chelsea lost to Newcastle, my boy scored a goal to help take us top of the league for the first time. And as long as we keep winning, Kai Havertz won't be a problem. And if he's coming off the bench and making a difference and actually giving us a plan B, another person up there that can actually make a difference, it's a win-win.
Okay, let's just be real now, innit? Let's just be real now. I know the people in the chat, they're gonna hate me anyway, especially the Arsenal fans. Yeah, look, you lot got your 3 points, great, good result. Yeah, let's talk about your performance though. Yeah, because these are the sort of performances that aren't sustainable when you're up against
performances right there. That's what champions do.
Let me finish, Egal. Yeah, because I know there's a narrative right now that Arsenal are playing more controlled football. You know, they're trying to win the league by being defensively, you know, better than what they were last year. I can acknowledge the fact that you are better defensively this year than you were last year. Gabriel and Saliba probably been the best pairing this season, to be fair. Declan Rice, amazing. You know what I mean? Top signing, top player. I wanted him at Chelsea, obviously, but that didn't happen. But when I look at your front three, you had your front three that you've been banging on about week after week ago. I watch when we get Jesus, Martinelli, and Saka back, it's going to be different. I wasn't seeing anything different to what I've been seeing all season from your team. You know, Saka again. You know, away from the assist that he got, he wasn't great overall. Martinelli, he wasn't great overall. Odegaard just came back, your highest paid player. Again, he's not creating nothing right now. So that the lack of creativity in that midfield, especially, and in your attack as well, bro, it's gonna catch up with you eventually. I just don't see how you win the league over Man City continuously playing like this. Do you know what I'm saying? That's the thing that I'm saying with Arsenal. I'm not saying that you guys can't improve, because you definitely can improve. But let's stop talking about Arteta wants them to play like this and this, that. No, I'm pretty sure Arteta's telling Martinelli to beat his man more, or Saka to beat his man more, or Odegaard, make sure that you're creating for the attackers. Jesus, make sure that you're creating, make sure that you're actually getting shots on target. These are things that Arteta's telling the players to do, but right now they're not able to implement it for whatever reason. So in order to win the league, bro, in my opinion, these players have to improve drastically. These performances, they can't carry on if you want to win the league. They can't. I don't buy this whole control thing. I just don't do it. I just don't buy it. I don't buy it at all.
I think, Don, I don't know what your opinion is. I think Arteta's took the best thing about Arsenal from last season and just destroyed it. Every time Arsenal went forward last year through Odegaard, Martinelli, Saka, and Jesus when he was playing, you thought they was going to score every single time they went forward. And now, we've got more control. I just think you just look less likely you're going to score. And yes, you look a little bit more solid at the back. But I'm with Don, man. I don't think this way is sustainable. I think last year you was a better team than what you are now. And I think I'm with Don. I think as the season goes on, you'll drop too many points, too many draws. I don't see how you win the league playing like this. I think you was better last year with the way you were playing.
You want to know something? Which one of your teams have beaten Brentford away from home recently? They're not an easy team to play. I've seen Man City lose to them. I've seen Chelsea lose to them. I've seen Man United lose to them. I've seen Tottenham draw to them. Let's not act like the opponent that we played was some throwaway team. Number one. Number two. Number two. When you're coming to conclusions from this game, defensively, what we did, we basically scored 3 goals in this game. Those goal line clearances from Declan Rice, that goal line clearance from Zinchenko is just as important as your team being clinical and scoring the goal that you need to win this game. We showed in this game, yes, we might not have our attack clicking and firing to the level of a Man City or to a Liverpool from a couple of years ago, but you don't necessarily need that. What you need is to be resolute defensively. You need to be able to get enough on the day to get yourself over the line. And that's what we showed. This game is what champions do. This is the kind of games that help you win league titles, not the games where you're always smashing teams 5-0. You can smash teams 5-0 on occasion at home. But when you're on the road and it's a tough game and it's tight and everything is going against you, you even have you need something to grab the game by the scruff of the neck. This Arsenal team is able to do that. Now, you guys can continue to run this gimmick that this Arsenal team is not any better than last season and we've fallen off a cliff or something like that. But that's not remotely true. We've gotten this. 1 second. Where we've taken away from the attack, we've added it to our defense. We've sacrificed more solidity and taken away from the fact that we were more free-flowing.
That's what I'm saying. And that's exactly why I started off by giving praise to your defense, because last season you lose that game because defensively you weren't at the level that you've been this season. Sorry, but that defense can only take you so far when you attack.
That was more to LB's
let me finish what I'm saying, bro. Like I've said, I've bigged up your defense here, but I'm talking about your team overall, and it's not a game in isolation. I've been speaking about this from the beginning. I've been saying to Terry and that you guys haven't been convincing me. Yes, I know you've been picking up the results, which is great. You're top of the table. You're gassed. You're happy. Cool. Fair enough. But over 38 games, I just don't see you lot sustaining and constantly winning these games against better teams that finish their chances. Because on another day, bro, Brentford win that game. Do you know what I'm saying? Yesterday, Brentford could have gone either way. Could have gone either way, bro, yesterday.
1 second. On another day, Brentford win that game because we're not solid defensively or we're not taking our chances offensively. Because if you're going to say our offensive worries, I actually have more of a case to say that our offensive worries can only get better throughout the season, where our defense is holding us down at this moment in time. We're only going to get better offensively, and here's why. 1, you have a midfield that's getting more familiarity with each other. 2, we've told you how our attack has been faltering this season with injuries, people coming in and out, and now that we actually have our first attack, you're going to see more consistent performances. Don't look at this game as a nutshell and try to come to the conclusion that this is how it's been all season. We didn't look good.
Martinelli sitting on one goal, Egal. Martinelli sitting on one goal. How many goals did Jay-Z score this season?
We didn't look good against Brentford, but majority of teams in that kind of game, they would. You're right, they would lose. But this Arsenal team, the way that we're built to lean on our defense, we don't give them that opportunity to score against us.
And that's exactly why I'm saying I don't see you lot winning the league. There's only so far
that's more sustainable.
there's only so far the defense can take you, bro. There's only so far because if you, bro, you literally scored a goal in the last minute from the last person that anyone here would have said was going to score. Yeah, you're telling me that Havertz is going to do that weekly then? What you're telling me is that Havertz is going to do that?
You're not wrong, but here's where I disagree. Defense wins you titles, bro. The reality is we're focusing on having a sustainable defense throughout the season where we don't give up too many chances, where we don't get countered as often, where when teams, they can only really counter us or they can try to break us down when we're set up as a low shape. Either way, they're not going to get to us too much. Our goalkeeper on the day was rotated because of the situation where we couldn't play Raya against Sting, and he didn't even have a good game. And guess what? We still didn't concede a goal. Right now, you're focused too much on us being fluid, us being attacking, us outscoring our opponent. That will come, but away from home against a tough side, it is respectable to have a 1-0 win instead of having a 1-1 draw.
So, Egal, are you confident then? Let's say you go up against a team like Brentford. Let's say Brentford scored first against you lot. Are you confident that you'd come back and beat them and score 2 goals against them? Because Brentford defensively, they were very, very good. Saka's cross to the back post. Hold on, Egal. Let me finish here. Saka's cross to the back post is world class. He's got that in his locker. Yeah, he done it against us. He done it against Brentford. That's a world class bit of talent to have. Yeah, but like I've said, if you went down to Brentford, can you honestly say that you're confident that you guys would have come back and scored at least 2 goals against them? This is my point here when I'm talking about your attack and how you're creating right now. I just don't see you not winning the league playing like this, bro.
Okay, one, we didn't give them that chance to score against us. Number 2, if we did concede against a team away from home, what we would do is we change the way that we play and we might be much more attacking. We don't necessarily have to.
You haven't seen that this year, Egal, in the league. You haven't. Only against Bournemouth.
Because we're not because we're scoring our goals at the end of games and we're not scoring them at the beginning of games, blowing teams out in the first 20 minutes and then dying out at the end of the games. I think the way that we're playing is actually more beneficial to us, where we don't tire out ourselves in the beginning of the game and we're better at the end. That's what we were doing last season. Everyone keeps comparing it to last season. So if you're going to compare it to last season, understand I would rather have this way of playing where we're winning the games and we're more controlled throughout the whole 90 minutes than a kamikaze back and forth for the end of the game and a good 20 minutes to begin with. I think you're mistaking scoring goals early in a game with winning the game convincingly. That's not how you win a game convincingly. You can win a game convincingly.
This is sustainable in your opinion,
by getting a late winner. This is sustainable because we have a bedrock of a solid defense where we don't create too many chances. We don't give teams opportunities to get too many goals against us. And when we do score, we'll make them look foolish because the game is done.
Teams do create against you, though. Teams do have shots against you and chances against
you.
There's a myth.
There's a myth in the league,
but they still do, bro.
The lowest in the league.
Yeah, they definitely do. But if they're conceding the least amount of opportunities in the league, then progressed on the least amount in the league, I don't see how that's a criticism. Personally, I'm not saying
it is. But
they've only scored 4 goals less than they did at this stage last year. Their defense is better than last year. People keep saying it isn't sustainable, yet they are top of the league. And I thought that the league table doesn't lie. I think they need to improve in their attack. But you said it in something you said there a moment ago, Don. You said Brentford's defense is amazing. So if their defense is amazing, and I don't see why we're overly attacking Arsenal for not scoring more goals. I still think that's an area that they'll improve on later in the season. But I understand the criticism that people are getting based on what they're looking at. But they are top of the league. They're on 30 points, and people predicted them to completely fall off and fall away. And I don't understand the level of criticism that Arsenal are getting for being top of the league, considering there are other teams that have been praised more, but are currently sitting 5th. It's just weird to me.
I've given them praise. I've given them praise for getting results because my team can't buy a win. You know what I mean? Arsenal right now they're getting results, but we can't ignore the performances. Terry is all I'm saying. That's it.
Okay, we've got some super chats here I want to go to. First one says, every single week, can't sustain playing like this over and over and over, and yet we're top. Makes sense. Who cares how you play? I just want to win, and we are, is what Mr. Tybox says. Why is top middle and top middle arguing with Egal's opinion? Man is right to his opinion. He ain't once said it's fact. Arsenal need to get out of first gear. Oh, they're allowed to argue. They're here to argue. We can't hear the debate and argue. That's with all due respect. Thank you for the super chat, but that's the point of the Top 6 show. Thank you very much. Big up LB. Respectfully, we did what we did last year and came up short. Why not try this and see? Don Jose built his legacy on such results at Chelsea.
Well,
you missed the key thing that I said. You're up against Man City, is what I said. Yeah, treble winners. That's what you're up against.
I don't even think that's the thing. For me, I'll answer the question for Ricky. The reason why I don't think you should have changed the style is because ultimately you should have won the league last year. I don't think the reason you lost the league last year was because of your defence. It was because you bottled it, mentally bottled it. That was the reason, not because of your defence. Well, you're shaking your head.
Jesus said it himself, bro. You're scared.
Why are you shaking your head, bro? You was 2-0 up against West Ham, yeah? You then bottled it, conceded 2 goals. You then got a penalty, which you missed. Again, mentally bottled it. You then drew 3-3 at Southampton. That was not your defence. That's a mental problem.
Bro, you literally just said we conceded how many goals against Liverpool after we had a 2-goal lead?
Yeah, that's Liverpool.
We conceded how many goals versus West Ham? Bro, when you concede, one second, from when Saliba got injured, when you concede a total of like, how many goals is that? 2 versus Liverpool, 2 versus West Ham, 3 versus Southampton. We concede 4 versus Man City. Come on, 2. I think we conceded another 3 versus Brighton. You're conceding too many goals in such quick succession.
Wait.
I think we conceded more goals in our last 8 games than we did in our first 15.
No, wait a second, because the City and the Brighton game by that time were stupid anyway. It was over by then. If you look at the West Ham game, yeah, and the Southampton game, the Liverpool game, they're the 3 that we're talking about. They're the 3 that cost you the league. You didn't. And that
was our defense. Guess what?
No, it wasn't. It was your mentality, bro. You bottled it.
Bro, Egal, your own player said it. Jesus literally said it, bro. He literally said it.
You're mistaken. You can factor in other factors, but the main reason why we did not win the league last season, to me, was our defensive deficiencies at the end of the season. You can say mentality as you want. Mentality is not going to make Rob Holding hold it down for the last couple of weeks of the season. The reality is our defense let us down at the business end of the season last season. That is, you can hold the whole team accountable for it. You can hold individuals for it. You can hold Mikel Arteta down for it. But I felt like our defensive deficiencies and the team not being able to hold it down for the last couple of games of the season was not down to mental disorder or mental issues only or mentality issues only. It was more down to my bad. I was
sorry. No, it's fine. It made me laugh. Sorry.
I was trying to say something and then I lost what I was saying. I felt like it was more down to the defense than it was just mental.
Actually, let's do some more of these super chats here. This is all rivals drop points away to Brentford, is what Martin says. And Charles here says so much criticism for top of the league. Shameless. Jason here says trolls talk crap about why call him 29 Kai Havertz, but Gooners want him to do well. Not all Gooners. He's on tomorrow 3:30 League Gunner. I can't wait for that show. I'm so buzzing about it. Last year folks were saying smashing teams wasn't sustainable. Now more balanced and solid is not sustainable. Top and rivals are salty. Come on, you Gooners. AJ here says we can beat both KJ.
I Terry, that's your fault for calling him KG.
No, I did. We did that on Rumble, didn't we? Sorry, I didn't want Kai, but I'm happy for him. Don. It's not the players. It's the new system. Arteta can change it whenever he wants.
Hey, listen, I never said Egal can't be happy. I'm just calling out on the lie that he said he's not angry with Kai Havertz. I'm glad he's happy for Kai Havertz. And that's good.
So basically, Egal's got all this smoke for Enzo Fernandez, but he can't criticize his players that are below par this season.
Talk to me about my £100 million signing, Declan Rice.
No. Talk to me about Martinelli, Odegaard, all these lot that are just playing crap. You don't talk about them enough, Egal. You know what I'm saying? You love to talk about Arteta's changed this and that, but you don't like to draw out your players. But you like to draw out the players out.
Martinelli single-handedly beat Man City for us. So when it comes to performances this season where your player grabs the game by the scruff of the neck and wins it for you, show me where Enzo has done that for you guys. Because I can give you examples. No, because you
He's
said
got one goal
you
all
said why
season,
don't
bro.
you criticize Martinelli? I'm gonna tell you the reason why I criticize Enzo and I don't criticize Martinelli as much is because Martinelli has shown on numerous occasions that he can grab the game by the scruff of the neck and win it for us, where Enzo Fernandez has never done that for you. Declan Rice even did that as a defensive midfielder. Thomas Partey has done that for us as a defensive midfielder. William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes as center backs have done that for us. Your midfielder who cost £100 million has not done that for you once in over 40 games for Chelsea.
Egal, that's all cute and that, but it doesn't take away the fact that Martinelli's been poor this season. So I don't understand why you're telling me about Enzo.
But I'm just giving you the reasoning. 1 second. Okay. I didn't dispute that Martinelli hasn't been as good this season, but I'm telling you why Enzo Fernandez gets cooked and why my players don't.
Guys, we've got to get through these super chats because we are going to run out of time here. This one here from Sean says, anyone still chatting absolute breeze about how Arsenal and Arteta aren't good enough? Or are you being quiet now that you've all been humbled? I think you can see, Sean, they have not been humbled enough to not talk about it. You can probably score more goals, but at the same time, better teams will punish you early in the scheme and approach of Ange. That's from a little bit earlier there. Thank you very much for that. Arsenal don't slip Wolfpack. Don't kind of get that. But thank you. Thank you. Using Egal logic, Havertz has been great if Arsenal are winning. Enzo is crap if Chelsea have only 4 wins. Enzo's role is like Bernardo Silva, except he's at Chelsea. Keeps the build up. Would you say he's been as good as, just very quickly, would you say he's been as good as Bernardo Silva, Don?
He said role. He said his role's like Bernardo Silva. I don't think his role's like Bernardo Silva at all. Sorry, bro.
If Man City had got Declan Rice, which position, if Rodri is at 6, where would he have played?
The place where Kovacic can't play right now in the 8.
He would have played where Akanji tried to play the other day. You know what I mean?
There we go. What's the difference from what Egal said to what LB said? I think talking about Chelsea. Nothing really, just different words. But let's be honest, it's not a foul on Alisson. Then how was Gabriel not given a foul consistency at all? Exactly. That's why.
Arsenal agenda, bro.
Don listing all our players playing crap. Arteta, a wizard, top of the league with all these crap players, is what Mr. Tybox has got to say.
You guys are just so insecure, man. Seriously.
I enjoyed watching Arsenal last season, but now I'd rather watch Test cricket instead, is what Marco, the Man City fan, has got to say.
We don't care about your enjoyment. That's all I have to say. We want to win.
Totally agree, LB. The mentality issue manifested in defense and the goalkeeper in absence of Saliba. Arteta is building that mentality by shoring up defense, is what Ricky Proctor's got to say. There is room to improve in the attack. Arteta wants defensive solidity. Another word first. Then he will give more freedom to the players. Big up, Terry. Thank you, Sadiq. Thank you. I heard Kai's celebration is dedicated for Don. It's what Abdi says here. Wasn't it Fergie who says attack win you games and defense wins you championships? Yes, it was. The greatest manager of all time. Thank you, bro. I find it interesting that armchair coaches with internet experience are trying to decipher whether Arteta's tactics are working. We will see in May. It's the last show until May, people, and we'll see. We'll see you at the end of the season. Don't shut us down, bro. I don't think we lose the game last year. Maybe a draw. If we can maintain this through 38 games, how have Chelsea done it in 2005 team? Then when we are tidy at the back. This also here it says, Egal, do your research at least. LB Emirates empty. You mean the Etihad? Kate, cheer up. Spurs still free falling like skydivers. Donna needs 1 billion kids. Haha. Kind of a dig at everybody there.
It's coming on smoke.
No smoke. No smoke.
Boy,
Egal, even Eric has done it for Tottenham, but Enzo has not done it for Chelsea. Is what Chike has got to say here.
It's really not. You're just not watching us enough.
Don, please have some shame. Man, is it Enzo or Endo? That's quite funny. Arsenal so-called control football when you must win the league and Champions League. Calm your city back on.
Claim your city back. Claim your city
back. Right, there we go. Sorry, I misinterpreted that a little bit. There we go. Egal, sorry, already done this one here. Wish wish you'd stop speaking sense to Egal. It's not fair. That's not nice. Egal gets it. This is for you, Egal, saying Ashburton Grove is the road. As an Arsenal fan, I can say, Kate, you are a liar.
This guy's coming on smoke, you know.
Everybody. He's coming from absolutely everybody. I've been at the Emirates, never heard fake noise, is what Brian has got to say here.
That's 'cause you can't hear anything. You can do a pin drop.
Ange giving teams most important quality courage. I was giving his team the most important courage. Listen, it's important. There's no doubt. Northern clubs protect their players better. Not Manchester United. They don't. I don't want to hear any injury conspiracy theories from Liverpool when Pep literally pulled half his starting 11 for injuries ahead of this game for F's sake. And why is Foden always protected from criticism? It's always Southgate or Pep's fault. His peers never get the same treatment as him. Do you think he's protected, Phil Foden?
I don't think he's protected.
When good players play, they don't.
I feel like he's just not, the light's not really on him whenever he plays bad, because he plays for City and it's not like they're losing games, so it's not like you're ever going to focus on the fact that Foden's brought City down. They're always up.
Let's be honest. Foden and Bernardo Silva are really good players and will probably be some of the best players on other people's teams, but they're like the third or fourth option on their team, so they shouldn't get the criticism of being a top player.
Bernardo Silva, third or fourth option.
Third or fourth best player on the team. Yeah, Rodri, Haaland, KDB. Who are we talking about?
Okay, that makes sense. Option, bro.
You said option. That made it sound.
What I meant was third or fourth.
I know what you meant. I know what Egal meant. A big question before we end the show, people. Did we witness Garnacho score the greatest Premier League goal ever yesterday? The reason I asked that question in that way is Wayne Rooney was officially voted the greatest Premier League goal of all time for his overhead kick, and Garnacho's in many people's eyes was further out, better connection. Where does it rank in our opinions of great goals in Premier League history? What are you saying, KJ?
The greatest of all time. I am done. There you go.
I feel like you can't say that, because you have to put like context to this. The goals that Rooney scored, for example, it was in a bigger moment, a bigger game. It was against Manchester City. Like, the moment adds to the goal as much as the goal itself. So you can't just focus on the fact that, it was an amazing finish and probably a once in a lifetime finish, but everything else around it, like, he scored the goal and everyone was like, oh, great goal. Like, but it was against Everton. It was 2 minutes in the game. It wasn't like Man United's not really in a place right now. Like, I just feel like it's not the best goal of history because it doesn't have anything else behind it apart from the brilliance of the goal itself.
I hear what you're saying. I think obviously Rooney's will always be lauded and more iconic because of who is against the title race, the time that he scored, all these things. But if we're just going out just for goal, technique for technique, it is a better bicycle kick. Even though both of them are flipping amazing, like, it is a better bicycle kick, and I'm happy for Garnacho to score that goal. It's something that we needed just to, lift us as a team and as a fan base. So yeah, like, props to Garnacho. And will it be considered the best of all time? We'll see. Obviously, we've got more games to go this season, and obviously football will never end. So we'll see, man. We'll see. But I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I get where Jords is coming from, because sometimes you'll see a great player score a great goal, and it will be lauded more than an average player who scored a very similar one. And I understand Rooney's goal was in a Manchester derby, latter stages of the season, in a title race against Man City. So those things go against it. And I understand that completely. In terms of the actual goal from Garnacho, it wasn't just the technique. It wasn't just the fact that it went into the top corner. I actually think when you look at the situation, though, away at a ground where everybody predicted us losing because of the atmosphere and everything that's gone on with the points deduction, the form that we've been in, our away record that's under scrutiny, a ground where we've been beaten a lot in the last 10 years, as an example.
Your lack of goals as well. Your lack of
goals, no one scoring, all these things. And then what he had to do, this guy had to take about 4 or 5 steps back in the opposite direction, jump. He's not he's looked where the ball is, and then he's had to time where that ball's going to land, and he's hit it absolutely perfectly. From a technical point of view, the goal is flawless. And listen, Ronaldo's overhead kick was ridiculously good. Bowles in the Champions League final, Rooney, Sinclair's. But if you actually watch it and then compare them, this one's better than, technically as a goal, this one's better than all of them. It really is ridiculous. And maybe because his name's Garnacho and he's not a superstar yet, it won't get the attention that I think it deserves for as long. But for me, it's iconic. I think this goal will be shown in the Premier League in 30, 40 years' time.
I don't think people realize how hard it is to generate that much power, right? When you're facing away from the goal, bicycle kick, to get a top bins like that. Goals that normally go in like that, where the keeper can't get to it, is when someone just like punches it in from 30 yards out or whatever. That was a bicycle kick, and he got that much power on it. For me, that goal was better than Rooney's, man. I understand Rooney's goal was against Man City and whatnot, and nostalgia and whatnot, but for me, that goal was one of the best goals I've ever seen in my whole time watching football, man.
It's a great goal, but we got to give the manager credit, because managers nowadays hold players back from attempting those kind of shots, or even attempting those kind of goals. I feel like managers nowadays want everything to be
Get that man off the stage, man.
One second, maybe
Arteta would.
One second, I feel like managers nowadays want everything to be robotic. They want everything to be like in a controlled way. You want to take high quality of opportunities and chances. That shot really had no chance of going in if he didn't shoot it like that. And it was like, wow.
I get what you're saying, but like, no matter how much a manager would have control over on the pitch, a player will do that if he wants to do it. Like, to be fair, that's the only way he should. Kind of shots. But that's the only way you could have struck the ball anyway. If you look where the ball is, if he left it to try and he's controlling it to go nowhere. So like he actually had no option but to do that if he was going to shoot, and did that. So no amount of control of the manager and no amount of freedom is going to make a player do that or not.
That's individual brilliance. That's gonna.
You know what it is? I know what Egal's doing. Like, I don't know if you guys know, but Egal's playing the long game. So when an Arsenal player scores an eventual good goal, he's gonna say it's because of Arteta.
I thought it was a really good goal too. Everyone did. I think it is deserving of being the goal of the season. But to say, I'm just pointing out the fact that we don't see this too often. So that's why we're bigging it up.
Yeah, because it's hard, bro. That's why
you don't see it because it's so hard. And there's been some really good ones. You know, I think back to Zlatan's against England, which was much further out. But in terms of being easier, he could see the ball. And this is why this is from the angle he did it from, the same as Rooney. You can't see the ball. You're almost doing it blind. You're doing it on. Do you ever watch that TV show that Ronaldo made, where they were testing elements of his skill set and they would cross balls? And then when it was halfway through, they'd turn the lights off. And like Ronaldo was making contact with 90% of them with volleys and headers still. And they were basically testing how good his hand-eye coordination was. That element of it will just not be it's like if you literally went out now and got a machine to keep firing balls across like that, and you asked even people that say they're ballers that do good skills and got them to try and do that, I reckon it would take on average 1,000 attempts for people to even score a goal, let alone to put it past a good goalkeeper away from home in that top corner. Crazy. Great
even
goal.
That's gonna actually do that again. He ain't never doing that again. Like, literally a once in a lifetime strike. You know,
how old is he? 19.
19.
Yeah, that's the best goal he'll ever score in his career. That's the best.
Talking about 19-year-olds, Terry. Since we're Man United, we have to say it. Kobe Mainoo is brilliant. I love the kid. I think he could go on to. I'm not saying he will. He could go on to be a very, very good player. If Man United treat him well, if he stays out of trouble outside of the game, and if he just keeps his head down, we've got a good player on our hands, like a very good player on our hands. I love it, man.
He's cold, but Staffy said generational yesterday. What was
a lot of generational shouts.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
man.
I mean, this is the thing. I can't speak for anybody else. It's hard for me these days because I've obviously taken all my money away from Man United. Don't watch MUTV, but when you read up, this kid's been picked for the last 2 to 3 years to go on and be a star. He's someone that everyone's very, very excited about in and around Manchester because he's a local lad as well. And you speak to people that are very close to the football club, and he's very, very talented. He was going to start the season as part of our midfield. That was always part of the plan, but he picked up that injury. And look, he's 18 years of age. And again, when he was picked, a lot of the reaction from United fans was, why is the manager throwing him into this game, which we were all predicted to lose? He's going to fall apart. And to go in and be as comfortable as he was, that for me, even though his technique was great, it was the maturity and the comfortable nature that he went in and played. And I've always felt that if a player looks like they've got that much time on the ball when they play football, there's talent in there. And we still need to buy a better midfielder. We still need to improve this midfield with investment. But I want this kid to get game time. I want this kid to start playing for us because I genuinely think he's good enough. Now, generational is just like it's the opposite end of the world-class comments. I don't really know what it means because us 7 on this show might give 7 different interpretations, but he has the base and the ability to go on to be a top-class midfield player. There's no doubt about it. He just needs protection in the right areas and game time now. But yeah, he was sublime yesterday, and yeah, very, very proud of the young man.
He's impressed me every time I've watched him. He's very similar to Lavia, very press resistant. Again, his football IQ is up there. Like Bruno said, he rarely makes a wrong decision. You know, every time he's doing something on the ball, there's positive intent on it. You know what I'm saying? So
I was a lot younger when I first watched him, a lot younger, but he reminds me of when I first saw Paul Scholes play. And I remember watching a game that Scholes was in. He was actually playing much higher up the pitch because we had the suspension to Eric Cantona. And I watched him play, and I was watching the game with my dad, and my dad just said, oh, he's a bit special. And this was in the day when social media didn't exist. Sky had only just come about. And half an hour in, and I remember just watching him with my dad, and my dad's like, this I remember my dad's actual words, but this little ginger nut is pretty talented, isn't he? We used to call ginger kids ginger nuts back then. And I was like, yeah, and you could see it straight away. And as you mentioned, we saw Caicedo day one. As soon as he started passing and moving the ball at Brighton, you can just see this talent. I think Kobe's in that bracket. But the only thing that would stop him now, in my opinion, is if he doesn't work hard enough, or if his head gets turned by other elements that are surrounding him in football. So if he keeps his head down and works hard, and he gives me the impression that he will, this young man not only could lead for Man United, he could have a very good England career as well. And I hope he does, because he looks absolutely top quality. Shows youngsters, don't you call? I mean, you probably don't at school anymore. Yeah, we used to call ginger kids. The 2 nicknames we gave kids if they were ginger at school was Ginger Nut and Copper Knob. They're the 2 things we used to call them. So
Copper Knob.
That's true. It's true. My niece is ginger.
Okay. Can you confirm this? Oh,
you're on mute. Hey.
Yeah, long before the days of political correctness, that was exactly what we called ginger.
Oh,
yeah. It's true. It's true. Listen, it was way back. It was way back when you could make jokes. Look, I want to thank everybody for coming on the show today. It's been a great one. I've loved every single second of it. Remember to sign up to Golden Goals. £2 million available this midweek if you predict 6 correct scores in the Champions League. Why would you not give it a go? It's free to play, free to download. You've got to be over the age of 18 and in the United Kingdom. Scan the QR code above the gorgeous Lewis's head, or click on the link in our description below. But until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And let's get Egal and A to Z so he knows where Ashburton Grove is. Take care, people. Peace.